National Rosé Day is coming up on June 8th. You know we were going to celebrate this, and so somebody else is celebrating as well. It's Pedernales Cellars. They've released their Over the Moon Rosé, and they've got some special deals going on too. Executive winemaker David Culkin is here to tell us more. David, good morning.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Of course, Pedernales pops up. I love drinking your wine, I have to say. Let's talk a little bit about the winery, just kind of remind people about it.
So Pedernales has actually been here in Texas since 2006, and we've been making wine from Texas grapes for now almost coming up on 20 years, sounds like. Yeah.
Wow.
We were started originally, my parents planted grapes out in the Texas Hill Country back in the mid-90s, and my sister and I came in 2006 and started the winery side of this. Have been growing it ever since, and today we focus on doing a number of varieties that I think some are familiar to people, and others, are more unique because they're particular to what works here in Texas. Lots of Tempranillos, lots of Viogniers. You can definitely find those around town at your H-E-Bs, your Central Markets, your Whole Foods. In addition, we also do a lot of Rhone varietals, Southern French varietals that grow here in the Texas Hill Country as well as out in the Texas High Plains up closer to Lubbock. And in fact, today, wine we'll be talking about is incorporating some of those Southern French varietals that happen to make a really good rosé as well.
Okay, I have to ask a follow-up question about this. Is it that we have basically the same climatology? Is it the same sort of growing conditions that they have in Southern France?
We do on a good day. And then of course, this is Texas.
So right.
We always, I think the biggest difference that one might experience is that our extremes can just be more extreme. And so it certainly makes growing challenging. But I think something that I think a lot of people realize, but it's like you don't really appreciate, is the High Plains really is like a high elevation site. So most of our vineyards up there are over 3,000 feet. We have some that are pushing almost 4,000 feet. And at those elevations, it actually gives you much more of the conditions that are ideal for grapes. You want it dry, you want it hot during the day, but at the same time, you want it to cool down nicely in the evening. And that is conducive to doing a lot of the wines that we make. Again, it's just the differences opposed to south of France. Here in Texas, you're often dealing with really intense weather that makes it more of a challenge. Our growers have to work through that.
Well, and last one that I'm going to say off the cuff here is, do you guys just take the grapes and experiment? Are you saying, that seems to work well in Southern France, so we'll give it a try?
We do. Obviously, we have a long history of things that have worked beautifully and things that you learn from, and you say, okay, well, we're going to try something different. And so experimentation is a big part of it. But of course, winemaking is this incredibly traditional practice. A lot of what we do is something that you'd find in a winery, 1,000 years ago, right?
Wow.
Like in terms of what is being done, it's just more, there's more technology that we'll bring in, of course, to kind of make it more consistent. So.
It's just so scientific. I think the more I learn, the more I think there is to learn. It's crazy. All right, let's talk about what you're offering for Rosé Day. We've got gorgeous rosé sitting here in front of us, and they've got a special name. Tell me about this.
Yeah, so for Rosé Day, we'll be actually doing free shipping for anybody who buys 3 bottles or more. And so, like I said, go online to pedernales.com, and you can buy this online and have it shipped. That'll be running at least, I think, through the weekend. Additionally, if you come out to the tasting room, we have those specials. And of course, for members who join the wine club, there's additional plus volume discounts. So you really should come and enjoy. Not only will you be able to try the rosé, but of course you can try the full lineup of Pedernales wines currently in the tasting room. And so we're located out in Stonewall. Make a nice day of it, or even a weekend out in the Hill Country, and
it is a gorgeous drive.
Yeah, it's really nice coming out. So.
Well, let's talk about the one that we have sitting in front of us. It's your Over the Moon Rosé, and there's like a harkening back to your parents here.
Yeah, so like I was saying, originally the vineyard was planted by my parents, but their original, their life before being farmers was actually working for NASA. So they were part of the sort of the work for getting the Apollo missions up to the moon. They both worked as programmers, so they were at mission control. They literally met working in front of these mainframes, feeding in punch cards. Like I said, it's definitely, if you will, like a nerdy tradition with our family, because the winery was started by my sister and I, both of us are engineers. I actually started my life in software, but when we were wanting to kind of decide how we would brand, the rosé, we really wanted to tell a portion of their story about how they fell in love with doing that. We're still together today. Again, their involvement is now more to hold court at the winery than it is to have to farm. But
you don't say.
But again, if you come out at the winery at some of our events, our wine club members can tell you some of their stories as they'll talk about their days with NASA. And it's very, again, apropos, because today we literally, not NASA, but it is part of NASA, it has a mission going up to the space station.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's, again, June 6th, not just Rosé Day, but in fact happens to be sort of dovetail with that. So
that's incredible. And I have to say, you have very cool parents who had
they
two
have some
very
good
cool
stories.
kids.
Yeah, it's some really cool stories. They've done some interesting stuff.
It's really nice. So when we talk about kind of the flavor, the profile of the rosé in front of us, you know, can you talk to me a bit about it, what it would pair well with?
Sure. Rosé is obviously a great summer wine. You know, it's a wine that we will typically serve chilled. I personally it's one of the few wines, in fact, I'll actually drink by itself. But when it comes to pairing, it's nice with like a cheese spread, like a charcuterie. It can do really well with like a pasta, so like a shrimp pasta, that sort of thing. And it holds up with spicy foods. Again, it's got a decent acidity. It's not really sweet, but it will have a floral quality to it. And so like all of that makes it a very easy drinking wine, kind of a low to moderate alcohol as well, which again is something that, again, much easier for sort of picnic sipping and in the heat, honestly, than some of your other wines.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. Well, it sounds delicious. I also want to point out that you guys are offering a Sunrise Vineyard tour. This is part of your ongoing campaign to just say, come out and see us.
Exactly. Well, and again, it's an incredible opportunity to come out and really see what this is about, because in that setting, you'll see the vineyards. We do this, of course, early in the morning because it's quite hot. And so it's really best to be out there in the morning, and it's just beautiful. Like when you come out in the hill country, I mean, at any point, seeing the sunrise in the hill country is amazing, but to see it in the vineyard it's an experience, and it's a chance to kind of hang out with me and with my sister, and we'll kind of talk through what we're doing, and of course, you'll see what with harvest coming up, what things look like out there.
So cool,
yeah.
So cool. This is the time. We really appreciate your time this morning, David.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
All right, guys, get free shipping. You heard him mention when you order 3 bottles of the Over the Moon Rosé at PedernalesCellars.com through June 9th, and receive an additional discount on purchases made in their Stonewall tasting room. Stay with us. We'll be right back.